All right. So for question of the day today, or welcome everybody, first, I guess. For question of the day, it is what's your favorite aspect of living on Guam? Yeah. What do you think you guys' favorite reason for being here in Guam? For me, I think it's really it's family. I think if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would be here, to be honest. I think I'd be in the States. And just because I think there's just so much opportunity and there's so much different things you can do. I think that Guam's a cool place to be, and I think I'm really very fortunate to call it home. But at the same time, I think for example, I think if I didn't have a kid yet, I would probably be in the States. Not to say that I want to, I just think that's where what I've been because of work. But given I'm very fortunate that I'm able to be here and still kind of do similar work, just because I want her to grow up here with family. And so to me, I think that's my favorite aspect is being able to be here with family. Um, yeah, I think that's my favorite thing. Junior, what you're the first on my screen, so I will give it to you.
Cool. Um, there's you reflect on it and there's always like the typical things that are pretty good, like the food, the people. Um, More so like now, I reflect on the culture. Coming from Guam, living here and growing up, you really see some of the things that we do out here culturally, and it kind of goes through, you know, regardless. I mean, you look at me, right? My last name is O'Brien, right? Nobody would really associate O'Brien being on Guam, but I'm born and raised here, from Maggot, and there's just certain things that it's very funny, right? Because whenever I would go to the States or whatnot, and people would hear me talk, and they're like, What's this accent?" Right? But then there's also people that are from Guam, and they see me, and they'll instantly go, "Oh, you know what? Are you from Guam or whatnot?" And so, um, more so than just like the language and what, but the culture on Guam, I think it's a very good place to grow up. There's a lot of good values that you learn, that place family at the center of importance and whatnot. Just kind of gives you a lot of grounding in your identity and whatnot. Um, Not to say that other places don't, but I think Guam provides a very unique place for that. So yeah, culture.
I'm gonna second that. I think I answered.
Let's see. We got let's go Kiko.
Yo, um, that's a really good question, man. I spent a couple years going back and forth, um, traveling a lot, and it was always a thing of like you said, like it goes back to comfort, right? Culture, food, family, and I've been in a lot of cool places. Um, but I think it for me it's convenience. Um, your minutes from the beach. Uh, I don't know how people get bored here. I've been in that state where it's like I went from a fast-paced city life to coming back home and like you hit a brick wall kind of. But uh if you like doing things with nature, you're right at home. If you like water, you're right at home. If you can swim, even better. Um so for me, honestly, I think it's a comfort because we can all handle a different lifestyle, or if you can, you can. But when you have a choice, you came back to the one that you found yourself comfort in, right? So that's what I would say. Let's go with Matt.
Hello. What was the question again?
Yeah, what was the actual what was like the word you used? What's your favorite aspect of living on Guam?
That's a hard question. Uh, hmm. um, I think I'd also say like the same thing Junior said, like the like our culture, like like the Chamorro culture. Uh, hmm, I don't know how to say this. Hmm, hmm. Is it possible if you could come back to me, so I could think of the answer?
All right, we'll go to Adrian and then we'll come back.
Thank you.
Kind of hard too. Uh, there's two. One, we're like super close to um, Asia regions like Japan and Korea. It's cheap for us because like if you want to go there, it's like $200 a flight ticket for Korea and then like 300 for Philippines, 400 or 300 in Japan, depending if you're lucky or not. Uh, I find that very convenient to be there, to be around that area. Also, like when I practice with pro players, they're not pretty far, so the like my connection between Guam and Japan and Korea are pretty low. They're pretty good, so I get to practice with actual pro players. Um, that's like a technical thing. The other thing is like I think for from every time I encounter like someone that's like out of not from the island, like military, for example, they always tell me, like, you guys are so nice. Like, everyone in the States is so mean. Like, not like all of them, obviously, but like generally speaking, like our people or people on Guam in general are just way more chill and like, I guess, happy and welcoming in comparison to like stateside or wherever else. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. Yeah, Matt.
Um, so yeah, I'd to say like the culture and like our hmm, our like historical sites. Um, because like how do I word this? Um, uh, hmm, mm, sorry.
I think your answer's solid.
Oh, but yeah, I'd say like our culture and like our historical sites because like um I'd say our history is pretty interesting on like how we're like found and everything. And like I think tried to explain when I was in the States to someone like how we were found and everything, and they were like pretty interested in everything. Yeah. So I'd say Ron.
Yeah. And then Ron, the question was, what's your favorite aspect of living on Guam?
Definitely the people, the food, and the beaches. Like I've been around a little bit on like the islands in general, and I'd say Guam has some pretty solid beaches and food.
Solid. Thank you all for sharing. Yeah, I couldn't, I think I agree with pretty much everybody. And I think that I do kind of add to my answer, maybe the culture and traditions and stuff like that. And if you haven't actually, I just brought my daughter the other day to the museum next to the cathedral. And I hadn't been there in like a couple years, I think at least. And to me, it looks really new. I don't know. It looks like there's a lot of new things, interesting things there. So I think, yeah, take your kids there, go check it out. I think it's pretty cool, or your family, whatever. But yeah, very cool. Thank you all for sharing. Okay, so for today, for this first section, I want to do a quick review of validations and migrations, just kind of giving a high level of what it is, and maybe we'll create one or two together. And then we're going to continue that group project from yesterday. And we can kind of go from there. So, actually, wanted to see if anybody can, off the top of their head, tell me what is a validation to them. Like, what is a validation? And obviously, I'm not looking for like a technical answer per se. I just like, what is a validation to you? Like, how would you explain it to somebody that to one of your peers or someone that you're trying to teach or whatever it may be? Like how would you explain what a validation is? Anybody?
Watching the video, it's thinking acceptable input. Like,
Yeah.
I want to say it's more like a checkpoint.
Yeah. I think that's a solid answer. I think both of those are solid answers. Yeah, so the way that I think of validations is it's like unless this, I don't want to say condition, but unless this validation, I guess, not to use the same word, but unless that is true, like you're not able to create this object, whatever it may be. Maybe it's a user. Unless there's a name, you cannot create a user without a name. Or if maybe it's a product, you cannot create a product with a negative price. Like that just doesn't make sense. And so things like that, or like, and there's a bunch of different validations you could do. Maybe unless the email contained at codeschoolofguam.com, if you really want it to be like, you can be super specific. Like, and you can, yeah, you can kind of make a validation to whatever it is you want. But it's basically when you're creating an object, unless that is true, you cannot, it won't create. That has to be true for it to create. That's kind of, yeah. So pretty much exactly what you guys are saying. The checkpoint, and so on and so forth. So really cool. Thank you. So now the next one that I quickly want to do a review on is what is a migration to you guys? What do you guys think? What is a migration? Like if I say, if you're going to explain someone a migration, what is it?
Would it be like amending your migration file?
Yeah.
So you can add on or you can edit your migration file.
Mm-hmm.
Or database.
Yeah, yeah. Your database. Yeah. Kind of that's pretty much exactly. So it's like so in Rails, so the first thing I want to say is in other languages and frameworks, they do their things a little bit different. In Rails specifically, and there are other languages like it as well, it's like we're not able to edit our database directly, like the structure of our database. It's set and you're not able to just go in and like edit a file and think that's it. Like we have to like there's a process to edit it. And so let's say we wanted to add on like another attribute to our model, our database table, to update our database structure to look a little bit different. In order to do that, we have to create a migration in order for us to edit the database. Like we have to create a migration and then run it in a sense. Yeah, so solid. I think you guys' answers are spot on. Okay, so let's create one together. And then from there, then we'll continue with the group project. Okay. So I brought up this store API again. Actually, I'm gonna push up my code. Okay, what did I do here? So yeah, okay, that's the like nicer way to do the .new and .save for the create. Added a validation, ran a couple migrations, etc. Okay, so I'll add them up separately. So these two migrations, git status, let's give you git commit dash m, um, create migrations to update the products table to have a description and to use title instead of name. So that's what that set of stuff did. And then this is the validation one. Git status, git commit dash m, add validations for title and price, and update the create action to properly handle validation errors. Push that up. Solid. Okay. All right. So I think for practice, let me take a look at our schema. I think we're good on validations. I want to create a migration. So we're going to create a quick migration. Let's say, we have for products, we have a title, a price, a description. Maybe we'll also have, what is it? What change do you think what change could we make to this product table? Like what could we add onto it or what could we change or remove to it or something? What's something we can add to this? And we're going to create a migration together. I'm trying to think of what I would do. Um, Dang, I was just let's do size. I don't know. We're gonna add size. That's what we're gonna do right now. All right, so to add the size column or attribute, because as I mentioned, so technically, yes, these are attributes. Like that's what we've learned is that this is like our products table or product model. And then from there, we have different attributes that kind of build this product. And so I want to add another attribute, or the other term that Rails uses is another column. And so it's another column in our database because technically this is a table. So we think of like an Excel table. It's like a table has rows and columns. The row is technically the name of the product, and then the columns for that are I'm sorry. Let me reword this. Let's do this. This sheets. Because I want you guys to understand why these are called columns. So let's say I have a products table. And then a products table has a title, a price, and a description. So the way this is kind of, in a sense, the way databases are structured. So we have our table name, and then we have columns for title, price, and description. And then from there, let's say I was to create a product, it would be like, okay, the title, and actually let me go and do this to make it even more. We have like an ID created at and updated at. So this is actually what our products table looks like. And so then let's say ID of one, the title is phone, price is $100, some description, whatever. I'm not going to fill out the time right now. I'll leave that blank. And so then we have like ID of two. The next one is we have like earphones, price $50, some other description. And then like let's say we have ID of three, and then from there it's like notebook, $10, cool notebook, whatever it is. And so the reason why that these are called columns or attributes is because technically this is the way our database looks in a sense. Obviously, we can't see our database per se, but this is how it would look. And we have these columns in our database, and then the row itself is going to be adding a row into your database is basically creating an object. So we created an object for products, and this has the ID of one. This is our first object or our first product. And so this, we created our first row in our database. And then here's the different columns in our database. That's going to be the different attributes. Does that idea make sense? Okay. Yes, Junior.
So would each row be kind of like an array of hashes or something like that? Is that way to think of it? Like hash ID one, hash title phone, hash title price.
It doesn't hurt to think of it like that. But in reality, the way that I want you to think of them is like, so if you remember when we had like our person class person and def initialize, name, age, and then it's like whatever at name equals name, at age equals age, whatever, etc. And so when we create a person, we do go like person equals person dot new. So this is an object. It's not necessarily a key value pair per se. Like there are like we could do like if we had the attr accessor or whatever, we could do like person dot name, and that's how we could print out that specific name or whatever it is. So kind of yes, in a sense, but in reality, each row is basically just it's an object. It's uh it's an instance of the class. If yeah, yeah,
Okay.
got you. Great question. Okay. So with that being said, pulling up this example again, we want to add in another column. So for example, size. So we want to add a column for size. And so in order to do that, a column or attribute, we need to create a migration. And so I wanted to share this example because now when we come in here, I'm going to close these out. This is just extra. When we go here and we're looking at this syntax for like rename column, for add column, whatever it is, I want you guys to understand why is it column? And it's column because of this right here, because these are columns in our database. So that's why we do add column versus add attribute or add whatever it may be. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So in order to add a column, we're gonna go Rails generate migration. And then from there, I'm literally just gonna describe what it is I'm doing. So similar to how I did add description of products, I'm gonna do add size to products. I'm going to click enter. That's going to create my migration file right there. We see db migrate, and then this is the time right now, and then pretty much what I said, but it just split it up into camel case. And so now I'm going to go find that migration file. Here it is. And so basically now I have to use the syntax. So the syntax for it, and I put it in Slack yesterday. So we can see right here. So this is the syntax for add, remove, and rename columns. And if you're trying to do something else, the syntax will be slightly different, but for the most part, it kind of follows this structure. So it's going to be add column, the database table name, the column name, and the data type. So for us, we're going to go add column, and then from there, we're going to go space, colon, whatever the database name, I mean, the database table name is. So I'm adding this to the products table. So I'm going to go products, comma, and then what is the column name of what we're trying to add? So the column name is size, colon size, sorry. And then from there, it's what is the data type? So the size is going to be, let's make it an integer just to keep it simple. Okay, cool. It's going to be an integer. And so this is going to be the structure of our migration file. We're going to do add column. It's going to be the products table. We're specifically adding the size attribute or column, and it's going to be an integer. And so now that we've done this, provided everything's there is right, I can run Rails db migrate, which is basically just going to go into our migrate folder and run all of them that haven't been run yet. And so actually, this isn't something I've really shown before too much, but so there's this command called or Rails db migrate. If you add status, so we can see what has ran and what hasn't ran. So here we can see here's the status of all the different migrations that we have. So there are 3 that say up, which means that they've ran successfully, and there's 1 that's down, which means it hasn't ran yet. And so Rails knows what it has and hasn't ran yet, which is exactly why as soon as I run Rails DB migrate, it's not going to create another products table. It's not going to add description of products again. It's not going to change the name to title again. It's only going to do the one that's down. So now I'm going to run Rails DB migrate. Solid. We can see there's no errors. And so if I run that status command again, so now we can see all of them are up. Basically, all of our changes successfully ran. And so here we can see there's the size. And so now now that I've added this, I need to go to my controller and I need to update my controller to make sure that we're properly allowing for the proper creation of a product now. So I'd have like comma, and I'd be like size, colon, params, size. And then the other place to check is in our product model. If I had a validation for size, theoretically, I would be updating it here now if I wanted to add one. I don't care to add one right now, so I'm not going to do it. So now I'm just going to turn on my server and let's just test creating a product real quick. Cool. So we have title, price, description, and let me add size. Let's just say like 10, whatever. Click send. Solid. We see it works. Cool. And that's the basic idea of a migration. And I also wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight with why we call it a column and also share with you guys how to like see has your migration ran yet or not. And so it's just Rails DB migrate and then you add a colon status to the end. Cool. Questions, comments about anything so far? Okay, cool. So on that note, does everybody feel good with pushing and pulling? Because I remember yesterday we started doing that. You guys feel okay with that? Okay, so we're gonna do a quick review because Junior wasn't here yesterday. But basically, the idea with pushing and pulling, we won't do an example right now. So Junior, you understand the idea of pushing up our code, obviously. And so whenever I push up my code, if I'm working with someone else, that person's gonna then have to pull that code down so that way they can start working. And then I'm not gonna touch that code. They're gonna do their work. They're gonna push up their code. once they're done, and then I'm gonna pull that code back down so that way then I can start working. And it's gonna be that constant like back and forth. And that's the basic idea of it. Obviously, for these projects, it's gonna take longer than if you were to be working on your own, but the goal isn't here for speed, it's for you guys to practice working as a team and working on these different concepts. So with that being said, so yesterday we were working on this, and I know you guys started working on it already. Um, so I'm just gonna have Zoom create some random groups, or it was Matt, Adrian, and then Ron, Kiko, and then I'm gonna add Junior to Ron and Kiko's team, and then yeah, you guys can basically continue with where you guys left off. And so Ron and Kiko, I think it's Kiko who created it. You guys will need to add Junior as a collaborator, the same way Kiko that you added Ron, just so that way he can also push his code up. Because if you don't, then he won't have access. So just a note of that. I will be hopping back and forth to make sure it's good. Just wanted to make sure to note that. All right, cool. So I'm gonna create the breakout rooms. Breakout room. Assign two rooms. Create. Assign. Alrighty, I'm gonna open up the rooms. You guys are good to continue. But basically, yeah, you guys just follow the exercise. Yeah, I'll be hopping back and forth. All right. Okay. So, um, what everyone think of the project? What do you guys think? How do you guys like it? Any thoughts anybody wants to share? Yeah, good practice. Go, Junior.
I was saying that um especially with the API, there's so many moving parts. So when one person is trying to do their tasks or whatnot, it's good to have additional eyes on it because sometimes I'll glitch and I go, "What was that?" And then the feedback is like real quick. It's like, "Oh yeah, it's like for us, it was like movies. You type in movies or you type in the colon here or whatnot." So just having all those extra eyes was really helpful.
Thank you, Junior.
Yeah, I agree with Junior because it's like writing a paper and not having someone peer review it. So like having that partner really helps. And also it's just like there's some ideas that come out where like for example, like one instance that Matt mentioned that I didn't even think about. I was just like going through the steps, right? He told me like if he basically asked if it was possible to like manipulate the output of the JSON file. So our problem was, or our inquiry was like, so we have the ID, title, the score of the movie, and then there's like the log where it's like created and updated, and then the description's on the bottom. So we wanted to put the description like in between score and created at. So we just found a way to like manipulate the JSON output to force that kind of image that we want, basically. So it's cool to just explore that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was actually really cool. So, basically, I know Junior, Ron, Kiko, you guys also did movies. However, when you guys created a migration to add the column for uh length, yeah, length. So
Here.
or year, it went to the bottom, right? When you guys did like an index or a show, it was like it went to the bottom. And so what Adrian and Matt were trying to figure out is how could they move that last one that they just added up towards like the middle. So that way it's all in order. It's like ID and then like title, rating, year, created at, updated at. And so what they had to figure out is how can they give a custom response basically. Instead of it just being rendered JSON movie or movies, you're basically, yeah, as Adrian put, he wants to give a custom JSON output. And so they created a method that basically output that custom JSON, and instead of just rendering the regular JSON, they rendered that what the result or what that method returned, which is actually really cool. And so, yeah. And so that's something very, very common. Actually, it's something that I do in the real world often because it's like sometimes you don't want to give just that raw JSON output. Sometimes you want to add stuff to it or you want to remove stuff from it, not necessarily changing the model itself or the database table, but you want to like manipulate the code some way. And so that a lot of times is called like a serializer. So basically, we're going to serialize the JSON to be whatever it is that we want it to be. It doesn't have to be that raw default JSON that we're kind of used to, basically. And that's something that we're actually going to get to probably next week. Um, yeah, so really cool. Thank you, Adrian and Matt, for sharing in. And Junior, Ron, and Kiko, you guys killed it too. Cool. Well, I'm really happy we did it. I think you guys all, I like that you guys were all got to practice with pushing and pooling and seeing how like everyone's database is their own. Like no one, like if I created something and I gave Matt the code for it, Matt doesn't have my database basically. So he has to recreate his own and he doesn't have access to my movies, for example, or whatever it is. So everyone has their own kind of little version of the code basically. So it's all really cool. So I was really happy. You guys all really actually did really good. And I like that you guys are all working together and doing either pair programming between two people or doing like programming in a sense is what they'll kind of call it, where it's just like a bunch of people all working together. And so I think that's really cool. And that's why in the real world, pair programming or working with usually it's pair programming, not usually more than that, but that's pretty common. I remember at my last job, there was times where I was literally on call with my coworker for hours, like good, sometimes like 8 hours. Like literally, we're just on call going through, and whether we're going through each other's code or we're just kind of bouncing ideas off each other, because it's like that's how it is in the real world. We're trying to figure stuff out, and it's just sometimes it's really nice to be able to work with someone else. And of course, when you're like heads down, like you'll want to be by yourself because you're obviously going to be more efficient. But during that time where you're trying to figure things out and again, like bounce ideas off each other, it's really beneficial to work together with other people. Yeah. Super cool. Okay. So, I wanted to start a concept today that will definitely go into tomorrow because I know that it'll take a decent amount of tomorrow. So we're gonna start. Yeah, we're not gonna do the seeds yet. So we're gonna start this. Let me go and share my screen. So we're gonna start something called associations. And so, what did I do here? Whatever. I don't need this one now. I'm going to create a new API just for this. Okay, this is number 7. Yeah, okay. So the idea of associations, actually, let's go through this together. Let me grab my notes on this. Yeah, okay. So the idea of associations in Rails or in programming is it's like we're going to connect two models or two tables. And that actually comes really in handy. And so for example, I'm going to pull up one of the projects that I did. So Rails console, yeah, let me pull up Rails console for this project, for this Hoffalo one. Do that. I'm going to pull up Rails console. And I'll make it bigger for a second. So right now, I have actually here, I'll show you guys the model. Let me open this up. Let's go to my schema. Also, it might be also beneficial to do this. Actually, we'll use this one. So the example I'm going to share with you guys right now to kind of give an idea of what's going on here. So I have like a user has an ID, let's say it has a name, email, whatever. We'll just do name, email. And then another table that I'm going to have is I'm going to have an orders table. So now an orders table is going to have like Let's say it has a quantity, a product, a and an ID. Let's keep it simple. So I'm gonna start filling this out. So let's say ID of one, user's name is Leon, Leon at test.com. ID of two, next one, let's say is Matt, Matt at test.com. And ID of three, let's say is Junior, Junior at test.com. And then from there, it's like, okay, so we have this users table. How can I connect this users table to this orders table? And what I mean by that is, okay, let's say we have some orders. I'm going to start with like ID of 10, 11, 12, etc. We ordered 3 phones. This is an order for 4 um, notebooks. This is like I wanted 1 cheeseburger. It doesn't really matter. And then from there, let's say I have like a user. So Leon ordered some phones, Matt ordered some notebooks, and Junior ordered a cheeseburger. So this is one way that technically we could connect these 2 tables together. Oh, sorry. However, this is pretty redundant. There's a lot of issues that could come up here. It's like, what if Leon had multiple orders? How am I gonna connect? I'm sorry. I guess the problem I'm trying to solve here is how can I properly connect these 2 tables? It's not ideal to have this extra user column here or this user attribute to figure out who ordered that specific whatever it is, that product. So the right way to do this is we're going to put something to connect them. We're going to put something called a foreign key. So a foreign key is basically an ID from another table. So the foreign key here is going to be on the orders table because the association that we're going to have is something called a one to many association. So basically, there's going to be one user that can have many orders. One order belongs to a specific user. And so that's going to be the association that we're going to have between these 2 tables. And so as I mentioned, I'm going to add a foreign key. So it's literally going to be user underscore ID. And so the way this is going to work is now I can just put the ID of whatever user it is that I'm referencing. So for example, let's say user ID of 1 ordered this, user ID of 2 ordered this, user ID of 3 ordered this, and let's say there was more orders, 13, 14, 15, etc. 2 computers, 5 books, 10 pencils. I don't know. It really doesn't matter what it is. And so let's say, okay, also Junior Matt happened to order a bunch of computers, Junior also ordered a bunch of books, and Leon also ordered a bunch of phones. And so now these 2 tables are connected through this foreign key or through this user ID column technically. And so if I wanted to grab all of Leon's orders, I could just say, give me all of the orders where user ID is 1, for example. And so that's kind of really the huge benefit to having this association is that we can connect 2 tables and we can grab all of Leon's orders really easy, for example. And to show you guys literally in the real world, I'm going to pull up Rails console. And so I'm going to go user equals user.first. So let's see who's that user. All right, cool. So this user's name is admin. So this is just this is me. This is my admin account for this specific testing stuff. And so now and then I also want to show you guys that there's also orders. So if I just do order.first, just show you guys that there are orders here. And so if I wanted to grab all of this user's orders, I could go user.orders. And now, let's see, user. What was the connection? Oh, snap. Okay, okay. Maybe a better example, actually. I'm sorry. I don't want to I forgot that I have another association here that I forgot about. A better association might be categories and products. Sorry about that. Same idea though. Yeah, let's put this up. Let's do this. So the association here is going to be that a product or a category has many products and a product belongs to a category. And so let's say a product has like a name, a price, etc. And a category just has a name. And then, yeah, sorry. Oh, dang, I did a join table for this one too. I don't want to overcomplicate it yet. Okay, let's just kind of implement this step by step and we'll walk through it. I don't want to overcomplicate it with this. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and do this. All right. Let me create week 6. All right, I'm going to create a new API. And this is going to be called a blog. Rails new blog API dash API dash database equals PostgreSQL. Give it a sec. Solid. Okay, let me cd into my blog API, open it up. Okay, so I'm gonna set this up like normal. I'm gonna push it up right now. Git init. All right, don't need to do a git init, I forgot. Git add, git commit, init, and then I'll pull up github.com/new. Pull up the class account. It's gonna be called blog API. Make it public, create, copy this link, paste that in. Okay, cool. So the associations that I'm going to create here, and delete this, I'm going to have an author. I'm going to have an author model or database table, and I'm also going to have an article or a blog post. We could call it a post, whatever. I'm calling it an article right now because that's what I was planning on. So we're going to have an author and we're going to have an article. And so the way this is going to work is an author has many articles. An article belongs to an author. So it's going to be, so this is this is the one that has many. This is the one that belongs to. This is the one to many. One to many. And so an author, I'm going to give an author, it's just going to simply be just, they're going to have a name. And then an article will have like a title, it'll have a body, and then it's going to have the foreign key. Because this is the one that belongs to an author, it's going to have a foreign key for the author ID. And so it's going to look something like this. And actually, I'll just do ID as well. I like showing ID. So we're going to have like, just to show like what the data would look like. Let's say I have 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to have 3 authors here. Let's say I have Ron, Kiko, and Adrian. And then from there, I'm going to have some blog posts. So the ID of the first I will go like 10, 11, 12. First title is going to be Article 1, Article 2, and Article 3. Something, something else, and something cool. So now the way that we're going to determine whose article it is, because before we have the author ID, it's like we cannot determine whose article this belongs to. And so the way that we're going to determine that is through this author ID. Okay, cool. So this article 1, let's say, was written by Adrian. Article 2, let's say, was written by Kiko, and Article 3 was written by Ron. And so theoretically, we could do something like give me all of Ron's articles, and basically that's just going to be like give me the articles where the author ID is 1, or yeah, 1 basically, or something like that. And so these are the 2 database tables that I'm going to create here in this blog API. We're going to have an author, which is literally just going to have a name and an ID and create that and update that technically. And we're going to have an article, which is going to have a title, a body, and it's also going to have this author ID, which again, this is called the foreign key. Or sometimes you'll see people just write FK for foreign key. So this is the foreign key. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and create this together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to generate my author model. So I'm going to go Rails generate model, and it's going to be author, and all it's going to be is name, which is a string. Simple as that. Solid. I can go ahead and verify. Let's go db migrate. There's my migration file. It's a string for name. That's all it is. I can go ahead and migrate this. Rails db : migrate. Oh, I forgot. I already have a blog API. I have to drop this database. Rails db create, Rails db migrate. Solid. Okay, cool. So now if I go to my schema, we can see there's my authors table. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to generate some art. I'm going to generate my article model now. So I'm going to go Rails generate model, and it's going to be article. And then we're going to have a title, which is a string. We'll have a body, which we'll say is text. So text is similar to string. It's just for longer groups of text. And then we're going to have an author ID, which is going to be a integer. Because technically this is going to be a number. It's going to be one of these IDs. Okay, so now I'm going to click enter again. It does its thing. I can go ahead and check. Here's my, what's it called? Article model or the article migration. See articles, titles, or string, bodies, a text, author IDs, and integer. Solid, that looks good with me. I can go in Rails, db, migrate, sorry. Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I have to do one more thing. So when setting up associations, there's three things that you have to do. So other than creating the model itself, which is something that you just have to do when you're generating a model, obviously, but there's technically three things that you have to set up other than setting up the general model. One of them was setting up the foreign key, which we did already. We can see in our schema, we have an author ID, which is technically that foreign key. The other two things is we have to set up the actual associations. So we have to set up this has many and this belongs to. So whichever one is the object that has the foreign key, or whichever one is the many, basically, we can think there's one author to many articles. So whichever one is the many is going to be the one with the belongs to. And so I'm going to go to the model. I'm going to go to the model, article model. And so it's literally going to be belongs underscore to author. And then the other one, the one that is the one basically is going to have the has many. So I'm going to go to the author. I'm going to go has many articles. Cool. And so now we've officially set up our association. So the three things that we have to look out for, again, just to repeat it, is we have to set up the foreign key, and we have to set up which one has the has many and which one has the belongs to. Those are the three things we need to do. The foreign key is obviously going to be created when we generate the model. And then the actual has many and belongs to's, they're going to go directly in the model files. So we can see I'm in the author RB for the has many, and we can see I'm in the article.rb for the belongs to. Cool. The final thing to do is to just test it out. So I haven't even generated a controller yet, and I don't need one. Okay, so let's go ahead and first I'm going to generate an author. So I'm going to go Rails console. And I want to generate an author. I'm going to do this exact thing right here. So I'm going to generate an author. So let's go author. Let's go author1 equals author.create. And all it has is a name. So I'm just going to go name : and it's going to be wrong. Solid. I created an author. Now I'm going to create, let's go ahead and create all three of them actually. Author2 equals author.create. Kiko. What did I do? Oh, I didn't do the argument. I didn't do the key value. There you go. Kiko. And then finally, author 3 is going to be Adrian. Oh. Okay, well, I accidentally clicked enter. It's okay though. We can edit this. I'm gonna go author three dot name equals Adrian, and I'm gonna go author three dot save. Okay, cool. So now if I go author dot all, I should have three authors. I have Ron with the ID of one, I have Kiko with ID of two, and I have Adrian with ID of three. Perfect. So far, this is everything that we've done already. We just simply created a model and I just created some data from that model. Okay, cool. So now here's where kind of the new thing comes in, where we're going to create the other model, but this is going to have a foreign key, as we showed. So actually, it might be beneficial for me to have my authors right there. And so now I'm going to create the first article. So let's go article equals article.create. And then I'm going to pass in, it needs a title. Title is going to be article one. And then it needs a body. The body is going to be something. And then the last thing it needs is an author ID, author underscore ID. And so the author ID is going to be 3, for example. And I'm just literally copying what I did here. All right, now I'm going to click enter. Solid. Okay, cool. So I successfully created the first article. And so here's where, actually, let me go ahead and finish setting up the articles. I'm going to do these last two. And then from there, after that, then I'll, what's it called? I'll show you guys the power of the association. So I'm just going to do the same thing. This is going to be article 2. This one, what did I call it? Something else. And this one was by Kiko. And then let me do article 3. This one's going to be something cool. And this one was by Ron. Solid. Okay. So now if I look at my first author, author 1. So I want to grab all of Ron's articles. To do that, I could go author 1 dot articles, and it's dot articles because of the association, because a author has many articles. So I want to grab all of Ron's articles. So I'm going to click enter. Solid. And so Ron has one article. We can see this is an array. So Ron has one article and it was article 3, something cool. And we basically grabbed it by grabbing his author ID. And so that's the way it's associated. And we could also go backwards. So if I have an article, so if I do article, so I can see who wrote this article. Because of the association, because I know a article belongs to a specific author, I can go article dot author because it says author right there, and I can click enter, and I can see the person who wrote this article is Ron. So it goes forward and back. And so this is really the huge thing with associations. It's that given really just this foreign key and this belongs to and has many, we connected these with a one to many association to link them together. Yeah. And so for example, real world example of this would be, let's say on Amazon, right? So on Amazon, when you go to see all of the when you go to see all of the orders that you created, you're going to go to somewhat of an orders index. However, that orders index is not just going to be all of the orders that on Amazon. That's going to be all of the orders for your specific user. So theoretically, you're doing something like user.orders, where user is your specific user. So that way you're only seeing the orders for your specific user. You're not seeing the orders for everybody. It isn't an order.all technically. It's a more like this where we're going to see all of your specific orders versus seeing everybody's orders. So that's where like a real world example of where this would happen. Does all this, is it somewhat making sense? Sorry, it's a lot of stuff going on here. Yes, Junior.
So the ID 1 goes to Ron, ID 2 goes to Kiko, ID 3 goes to Adrian. Um, does it automatically like say author 1, was that already assumed or the computer already knows that that's going to be Ron, or did we assign it? Like I didn't really catch it. Do we have to like article author 2 is already Kiko
No,
or
I specifically I set the variables for those.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So I did author one equals author.create, author two equals author three, etc.
Okay, okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Great question. Any other questions? I want to have you guys basically create one to see what it's like. Okay. Um, Actually, I want to do a couple more examples real quick before we move on. I just want to show you guys one other thing with this. Let's do this. Let's do this. I want to create a couple more articles. Article, I'm going to call this article 4, something else again. I'm going to do article 5, and again, etc. So who's the author with ID of 2? I can go author equals author dot find 2 to grab whomever that is, which happens to be Kiko. And so now if I wanted to see all of Kiko's orders, I could go author dot, I mean, not orders, articles, click enter, and solid. Here's an array of all of Kiko's authors. And the other quick thing that I wanted to show you actually, and I like that Actualize does this, the school that I went to, and I might tomorrow, we're gonna go through this stuff again tomorrow, obviously, because it's already nearing the end of the class. And so I might show you guys this as well. To kind of walk you through like what's kind of going under the hood. Because technically, what this author.articles is technically doing is, if you guys remember, we're able to do like, obviously we can do like author equals author.find one or whatever. So basically this is going to grab me the singular author with the ID of one. There's other methods like find by. So like, let's say I wanted to find the author where the name is Ron. So here's another method that I could use. So find already, it always is going to use the ID. Find by is the same exact method. It's just instead of it being ID, it's like you're going to give it what attribute it is that you want. So there I can find, for example, there's Ron. There's also another method, and this is what I wanted to show you guys, is where. So we can go like article dot where. So dot where gives dot find and dot find by return one singular thing. Dot where returns an array. It's going to find all of the articles where a specific condition is true. And so like I can go article dot where, and then I can be like author ID colon 1. So give me all of the articles where the author ID is 1, for example. Solid. Okay, cool. So now I can see here's the author, here's the only one with the ID of 1. If I went there and I change it to 2, solid. Here's all of the articles with the ID of 2. And so technically under the hood, that's what Rails is doing, is it's grabbing all of the articles where a specific condition is true because of the association. So Rails just takes care of this by doing this one line right here and this one line right here, technically. And so that's what's happening under the hood. And so I think tomorrow when we re-go through this, I did show you guys the fast way to do it, but there's a better explanation so that way you guys understand truly what's happening under the hood, if that makes sense. Because really it's doing this. Yeah. Sorry, does that all make sense so far? Is it making a little bit more sense? Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and do this. Okay. So everybody here did a movie API. And so actually that works out. And so everyone's going to do this on their own. And you're just not, don't push your code up because obviously everyone's APIs are all connected. So we're not going to push this API that you guys are doing, that movies API that you guys have. So I basically we're going to practice, we're going to do our first time trying out association. So exercise. So everyone should have a movies table. That's the first thing I'm going to say. So we're going to map out your associations. So I want you to pull up sheets.new, Excel, whatever it is that you want to use. And you're going to do something like this, where you're going to write out, I basically want you to create what your schema is going to look like. So for example, it's going to look something like, okay, I have a movies table, and that movies table is going to have an ID. It's going to have a title. It's going to have a year and whatever else you want it to have, or whatever else your stuff has. I don't remember. And then you're also going to have a theater. And so maybe that has an ID, it has a name, and it has a location. And so now, what do we think the association is going to be here? What do we think? Like if what how do you think we would set up this association? What are we thinking here? Help me out. Like with regards to like how I'm doing this, an author has many articles, a user has many orders, etc. How do we think we're going to set up this movies and theaters? Oh, sorry. Theaters stuff. What are we thinking? Like what would the association be here? Like I want us to set this up together. Following these like patterns.
So one movie would be in different theaters. So the movies is the one and the theaters is the many.
For sure. Okay, okay. To be honest, I was thinking of it the opposite way because I was like, okay, cool. Where is this movie showing? But you're right. Movies show it at everywhere. Movies show in many different places. Um, one movie shows in many theaters. Man, okay. I want to give, okay, let's do sorry. I don't want there to be any confusion because so there's the next level to this association thing is many to many. Like what if we have many movies at many different theaters and many theaters having many different movies? So that adds a
Mm.
whole another level of complexity that I don't want you guys to worry about just yet. Because one to many itself is the base, and then from there it's like I don't want us to expand to that just yet. So, okay, we all have movies. Let's say we do movies and categories, or genre, or is genre a good one? Okay, for this example, a movie can only be a part of one genre. I know in the real world, obviously you could probably have a movie that's a part of multiple genres. In this example, a movie can only have one genre. Uh, name, I don't know what else a genre would. You can add to this whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so with that in mind, I kind of give you guys a hint right there. So a movie can only belong to one genre. With that being said, what do you guys think the one to many association here? Which one is going to be the one and which one is going to be the many? What are you guys thinking?
Many is one genre.
Exactly. So a movie is going to belong to a genre, and a genre is going to have, it's technically have many, but for the sake of the actual syntax, it's has many movies. And so this is going to be the association. With that in mind, which one of these is going to have the foreign key? Hint, you can take a look up here. So which one of these is going to have the foreign key?
The movies.
Exactly. So whichever one is the many, whichever one has the belongs to basically is going to have the foreign key. So this one, that means that this one's going to have a genre ID. Cool. So this is pretty much this is what you guys need to create. You guys already have most of this. So the three things that you guys are going to need to do is you're going to need to generate a migration to generate a genre ID. You're going to need to add a belongs to genre to the movies table. And then you're also going to need to generate a genre model and set up the has many movies on that specific thing. So those are the few things, I guess technically there's like four things there that you'll need to do. and then use Rails console to actually test it out. Okay, so I'm going to walk us through that. So map out your associations, which technically it's going to look like this. So we just did that together right now. And I'll slack that. So from there, so the first thing that I want you to do is you're going to generate your genre table. And so the reason why I'm having you, we'll worry about the reason why it's in this order later. So Rails, so generate your genre model. And it's going to look like Rails generate model, or you guys know the syntax. I'm just going to put singular to make sure that's noted. So generate your model for genre. After that, you need to add the foreign key to the movies table. Add the genre, add the foreign key, foreign, to the movies table. Create a migration. After that, set up the belongs to and has many in the models, not in the models. And then from there, after you have all that set up, then you can go test creating some genres in Rails console, test creating some movies in Rails console, and then from there, test the associations by doing a movies or a genre.movies or a movie.genre, etc. Okay. Okay. So before you guys do, I'm going to show you guys one last thing before I have you guys do this. So if I attempted to create, so I'm going to pull up that spreadsheet again. So we can see in my blog API, I have one author has many articles. And the articles is the one with the foreign key. If I attempted to create an article without a foreign key, it should break. So if I did like Rails console and I go article.create, and then I'm going to go title : some article, body : some body, and I'm not going to give it a foreign key. And I'm actually going to do the exclamation point. I'm going to do the bang, so that way I can see a loud error. We click enter, we can see validation failed, author must exist. So technically, this belongs to author, and foreign key here is an association. Because it's like, now that we have this association that a article belongs to an author, you're not able to create an article unless you give it a foreign key, basically linking it to an author. You cannot create an article without an author, basically. And so that's the other thing I wanted to note real quick, is that if you guys attempt to, and that's why if you note in the exercise, I said to create genres first. Because after you set up the associations, if you attempt to create a movie before you create a genre, it's going to fail. You're not going to be able to create a movie until you create a genre first, because then you're going to need to associate that movie with its foreign key to the genre of your choice. So I just wanted to note that. If you do it backwards, you're going to get something like this. Because then again, like if I give it a, sorry, last thing, but and I'll stop talking. If I do a author ID that doesn't exist, so like I'm just going to give it like 100. That's a valid ID in the sense that it's a valid number. However, I do not have an author with ID of 100. And I click enter. There we see validation failed, author must exist. So I'm trying to associate it with an author that doesn't exist. Again, I'm just trying to show you guys why I'm having you guys do it in this order. So if you attempt to create a movie before you have a genre or a valid genre, you're going to get one of these errors, and that's what I want to share. Okay. All right, solid. All right, you guys are good to share your screen and try it out. We won't take too long in this. I just want you guys to mess around with it a little bit, get a little bit familiar, so that way going into tomorrow, it's not going to be as new of a topic.
Sorry, are we passing in any parameters when um, generating the model?
Yeah, yeah, you could do a name. Yeah, you can add whatever other attributes you want, but I think at least just a name. Yeah. And just to keep it simple, just do a name. For
Okay,
genre.
thank you. Sorry, I forgot where to put the user ID
No worries. So you're gonna put the
or even how to put it.
yeah. So we're gonna add the foreign key genre ID in the movies table. And so basically you're gonna create a migration to add genre ID to movies. So like you can do like Rails G migration, add genre ID to movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
Say that
so
one more time. Is that after you already created the model?
after you created the genre model,
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's Rails
generate migration,
and then genres, right?
add genre ID to movies. Really, you can call it
Uh,
whatever you want, but
genre.
it's better to be explicit with what you're doing. Solid. And so this is just going to be a regular migration. How are you going to add a specific column to your what's it called thing? Screen am I looking at? So yeah, so after you generate the migration file, you're gonna have to find that migration file and you're gonna have to do the add column, whatever, whatever, whatever.
Oh.
And if you're unsure about the associations, feel free to take a look at the screenshot I sent. I sent exactly what which one should have the foreign key, which one has the belongs to, which one has many, etc. So Adrian, I'm looking at yours. My first question to you, Adrian, is which movie API is it that you're trying to mess with? Because I believe this movie API that's up here is movie underscore API. And then the one that you're messing with down here is movie theaters API, which is a different one. So they're two different ones. I think you created another one, that's why. And then the next thing, so the reason you're getting this error, or not this error, but whatever, like it's not doing anything, is because you're doing Rails G model, so that's fine. And then but you're doing movie title colon string. So is the model you're trying to generate movie title? Is the model you're trying to generate movie? And then from there, title colon string is fine if it was like a movie and then it's like title is a string or whatever. Like, so those are like the questions that I have. Yeah, so Adrian, why don't you cd out of this one and let's go into the one that we have this stuff for. So go cd dot dot. So cd period period. And then do ls and find that movies API that you were working on earlier. Solid. Okay. So now this already has a movies. So now I'd say the first thing you need to do is you need to generate the model for the genre. Solid. And provided everything looks good, you can run that migration. So I think you're doing code space period, and that's this fold. That's this already. So if you just click on like up here, you can see the files, for example. So yeah, click it one more time. Yeah, so that's this already. That's why it's not opening up a new VS Code window.
Hey, Leon.
Yes.
Not exactly sure why it doesn't show up in the schema after I've added it,
Yeah.
the
Let's see.
genre.
So
So
okay.
Rails gen then I did Rails DB migrate. I made a mistake. I changed it to a string and I'm running the Rails DB migrate, but it's not showing up on the schema.
I got you. Could I see that last migration file? I basically want to see that one that you created. So add column movies, genre ID, it's a string. Uh, hmm. To simplify it, I want you to drop your database and recreate it. So you're
So
gonna do Rails
drop,
drop. Sorry, Rails DB colon drop, and then it's gonna be Rails DB colon create, and then Rails DB colon migrate. Basically, you're gonna drop your database, create it, and migrate it again. And I want to see if that kind of resets your database.
okay.
Okay, it seems like you might. Is there a server on? Do you have a server on?
Do I have a server on?
Maybe in your terminal or something. It says there's one other session using this database. Where would that be? Is there
Let's
another
see.
VS? No, not there.
I think that's all I've got going on here.
Interesting. Okay. Um, okay, let me look up the command to just what is it like kill dash nine man to kill servers back rails. Okay, here, Junior, I'm gonna Slack you something.
Okay.
Run this command. So this is just basically going to tell us what if there's a process running. Okay, there isn't. So what is using your database that you can't delete it? Hmm, that's really interesting. Um, okay, we're gonna generate another migration. You're basically gonna generate a migration and you're gonna do this exact same thing again. And you're gonna make the genre ID an integer.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just do Rails generate migration and call it whatever you want. Add genre ID again, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Add G ID.
Yeah, that works.
Movies. And for this one, um, what did I say?
That's good right
Movie.
there. No,
Oh,
so
just
yeah,
right.
you just click enter. Solid. And let's go ahead and check. We have 4 pending migrations. Okay. Could you do real quick before you do anything there? Could you do Rails DB migrate and then it's colon status? I want to see the status of your migrations. And then just do a colon in between migrate and status and no space.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Rails DB migrate. Yeah.
Do a colon, not slash. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, now you can go to the migration file, that new one that you just created, add the syntax to it, and oh, sorry.
This, right?
Yeah, pretty much that again. But then it's just going to be an integer instead of a string.
Oops.
Yeah. Delete the extra add. Yeah. Then change that to be string. I mean
Integer, right?
integer.
Okay. All right. Maybe I think that's why I did. Yeah. You know what? That might have been it. I was right the first time.
The weird thing to
Um,
me though is it's not even showing up. That's where I don't know why. Yeah. And then you go to do the Rails DB migrate now. Okay. That looks promising. Let's check out your schema. Bam.
there it is.
There we go.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Huh.
I don't know why.
Weird.
I'm really not sure actually, to be honest, but that fixed
Okay.
it for now.
All right. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay, let's see. How's everyone else doing? Let's see. Uh,
Sorry for the genre. Do we?
yes.
I'm trying to figure out if because you did the genre one genre, or do we do that for this genre one, or it's just a movie one, movie two?
You can just do genre equals genre.create, and then you can name it whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah, ultimately.
And then the movies we could potentially put like movie one,
Yeah,
movie
you
two,
could
or
just for simplicity if you wanted to. I was just naming it that for simplicity.
okay,
Yeah.
copy.
And we'll work on this for a few more minutes, and then I want us to take a break from this, and we'll come back at it tomorrow in a better way. Okay. We can't write no attribute. Adrian, could I see your schema? Solid. Okay. So that's the issue right there. So you can see can't write to unknown attribute genre ID. So basically, you cannot create a movie with a genre ID when there's no such thing as genre ID right now. So your movies table there's no genre ID. There's no foreign key right now. So you need to create a migration to add the generate genre ID. Let me see that file because it looks like you tried to. Add reference foreign key. Okay. Just do another migration, and it's just going to be add column to movies, genre ID, and then integer. Yeah. Here, and we'll walk through it together. Why don't you exit Rails console? All right. Go ahead and do Rails generate migration and then add genre ID to movies again or whatever. Whatever you want to call it, honestly. Yeah, solid. Click enter. And so that add reference, I like where you're going with that, or I know where you're going with that. But we're doing, it's like, yeah, it's similar basically. So you can go there and then it's going to be add column and then the table that you're referencing, which is movies, the column or the attribute that you're trying to add, which is genre ID, and the data type, which is going to be integer. So that'll all go in between here.
Oh shoot. Were we supposed to put genre ID in the thing? This one?
Genre ID in the, yes. So you can just make another
It's like
migration, rename it. You can do a rename column. And here, we could do it together right now. Why don't we exit Rails console? Migration, not model.
oh migration.
Yeah, and then like change genre ID to integer or something, or rename genre ID to integer. It's up to you.
But I'm just missing the underscore ID here, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll grab this.
And so it's going to be slightly different though. It'll be rename column instead of add column. And so rename column is like rename column, and then it's the database table, the original name, and then the new name.
Rename. And then underscore ID, right? Right here.
So that would be the original. So no, so go ahead and leave that one. And then the next one, so go ahead and type genre there, whatever the original name, like the current name, and then what
Oh,
name.
then this one is the underscore.
The rename column is slightly different than add and remove column. Add and remove column is the syntax of this.
Oh, okay. Shoot.
Yeah.
So this is okay now?
Yes, that's solid. Yeah, go ahead and
And
run.
then
Then,
DB migrate.
yep. And then you can check your schema to verify it. Hey, Adrian, I want you to run one more migration. Sorry, not to run it again, but you're gonna change genre ID to have an underscore, basically. Everything else there looks solid. You just need to have an underscore there. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and create the migration file, and I'll give you the command to put in there for now. So you cannot just edit it there and run migrate again. You have to generate a new migration. Yeah, so go ahead and yeah, do it again. And then I just sent you what's gonna go into that migration file. So you're gonna rename the column basically. Wait, 22. Yeah, go ahead and click enter. Solid. Okay. And so then I slacked you the command to put in there, or the code to put in there. Um, what else did we migrate? Sorry, Adrian. Did I make a list? Did I misspell something? Could you go to your schema one more time, Adrian? I'm sorry. Genre ID. GENREID. Could you go back to that migration file on the bottom? GENREID. Did I misspell something? This. Yeah, that looks right. Could Okay, could I see the migration before it? Yeah, it's movies. Wait. Do Command Z in here? Okay, now run Rails DB migrate again. Oh no. So so basically get that change back. So I just wanted you to change it back to what it was originally. There you go. So now run go to that one again. Okay, yeah, get the code back here. Do Shift Control Z. Shift Control Z will bring it back. Okay, right there. Okay, now run Rails DB migrate. The heck is going on here? Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I want you to do Rails DB drop. We're gonna drop your database, and we're gonna simplify that. Oh my gosh, scroll out. What is this error? Oh, okay, DB colon. Do a colon drop. Rails DB colon drop. Similar to like the Rails DB create and migrate. No space. Yeah. What is it being accessed by? I don't understand where we're getting that. Could you do, sorry, the last thing we'll try and then we'll just save it for tomorrow after this. Do Rails DB migrate and then no space and you're gonna go colon status all in one line. Okay. Okay. That's what's going on. So we can see that second one, which is this one right here, that didn't run. It says down still, so that never ran. So let's just delete this file, like double click on it or whatever to delete it. That bottom one. Yeah, delete that one. Delete permanently, that's fine. Yeah, then go to that one. Yeah, no, don't delete that one. Okay, it's fine. That's fine. Okay, now you're gonna don't delete anything else. So go into the terminal and you're gonna generate a new migration now, basically. Yeah, Rails generate migration. Yeah, you can just use the same exact name that you wanted from before, basically, if you want. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's go into that file. Yep. And you're gonna do Let me see your schema one more time. Does it have a genre ID already? Like that one that's spelled? Oh my gosh. Okay. We're gonna solve this tomorrow, Adrian, because I feel like there's gonna be a mismatch because we deleted those files, but it's okay. We're gonna solve that one tomorrow. All right. Let's go and start. Okay. We're actually sorry about that, Adrian. We're gonna fix that tomorrow. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna start wrapping up. Um, you guys are good to stop sharing your screen and let's wrap up. All right. Okay, so tomorrow. Well, first I want to say, don't worry if everything with regards to associations didn't fully click yet. There's a lot going on with associations. There's like if we already thought that like models and controllers alone had a lot of moving parts, association adds on like three other things with it. It's like you need a foreign key, you need a belongs to, you need a has many, etc. So don't worry, we're gonna get more practice with it. Tomorrow we're gonna start from scratch again from the beginning of it, but I just wanted to give you guys a little taste of it before we get to tomorrow, so that way tomorrow it's not a brand new concept. It's a basic idea. So we're gonna start from scratch. I have a few other things we'll walk through slower. Today, I'm sorry, I kind of rushed it a little bit, I feel like, because I wanted us to get through that. But so I apologize for that. That's on me. But tomorrow we'll take it slower step by step and we'll all do it together. Does that work with everybody? Cool, cool, cool. All right. Other than that, I don't have anything. Yeah, I guess I'll let you guys go and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, tomorrow I promise we're gonna go through that step by step. It'll be smooth. All right. See you guys. You guys have a great night. See you guys tomorrow.
Hey
You
guys.
guys,
You guys, see you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
So, guys, good night. Stay safe.